Hey friend, if you have ever felt exhausted, stretched too thin, or even resentful for saying no to something you didn't even want to do, then this video is for you. As women, we are taught that saying yes makes us kind and loving and helpful. But let's be real. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do just to avoid feeling guilty, even when you knew it was going to leave you feeling completely drained? What if I told you that saying no can be one of the most powerful things that you can do, not just for your peace of mind, but for your faith and your calling? In today's video, we're going to talk about why setting boundaries is not just okay, it's actually biblical. I'll share with you real life circumstances where saying no is necessary, how to do it without feeling guilty, and let's talk about how Jesus himself modeled boundaries in his ministry. And by the end of this video, friend, I want you to feel empowered with your time, your energy, and your kingdom calling without feeling like you have let anyone down. So if you've ever struggled with people pleasing or felt guilty about saying no, then stick around because this might be the permission that you've been waiting for. Some of the challenges that we experience and why we struggle to say no are overcommitting and people pleasing. We so often want to take on everything and we want to say yes to everything even when it drains us. Say yes to serving at church, helping friends, taking on more responsibility at work even when we don't want to do it or we know that it's going to drain us. The fear of disappointing others or looking selfish or even feeling like we're doing enough can be extremely overwhelming. Society often glorifies the superwoman who can do it all, but that is not sustainable. And the more we try to portray that character, the more we are pulled away from God, his calling, and his voice. More and more, I am meeting and talking with women who are experiencing alarming amounts of overwhelm and burnout, which result in deteriorated relationships, feeling unfulfilled, the inability to connect in relationships, and this all stems from the inability for us to say no. I think as Christians, we feel that saying no can be equated with being unloving or unkind, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Friend, I want to remind you that Jesus often retreated to go and spend time and pray and talk with his Father. He didn't heal everybody. He went and prioritized his time with his Father. Let's explore some biblical truths about boundaries that are God's design. In Luke 5:16, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. In Matthew 14, verse 23, after feeding the 5,000, Jesus dismissed the crowd and went to be alone with the Father. He didn't let the expectations of others dictate his mission. He followed God's will. And I want to challenge you to ask, how often are you prioritizing the demands and wants of other people over your relationship with God? How often are you retreating to spend time praying in the Word to hear what He is calling you to do? God calls us to steward our time and our energy well. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, there is a time for everything and a reason for every activity under the heavens. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Yeah, not every opportunity is your assignment. Some things are meant for others to do, and your no is going to give them power to realize that they are capable more than what they thought. Saying no makes room for your yes. When you say no to distractions and unnecessary obligations or even guilt-driven commitments, you create space for what truly aligns with your calling. And friend, I want to ask you, if you were to reach out to a friend to ask you to assist you with something, and you knew that they were saying yes out of guilt and obligation and they had no desire to do what you were asking them to do, would you still want them to help you? That's something to think about every time that you are saying yes out of guilt and obligation, saying yes to do things that you have no desire to do. All right, now that we have unpacked the struggle, let's shift gears and focus on the solution. It is time to get practical because knowing the problem, it's not enough, right? So how do we actually say no without feeling guilty, second guessing ourselves, or spiraling feeling down the "I'm such a bad person" mindset. Let's break it down into actionable steps that are going to help you set boundaries God's way with confidence, clarity, and His peace. Let's talk about when and how to say no with confidence when no becomes non-negotiable. Number one is when you're feeling overwhelmed. You shouldn't be committing to someone else's priorities when you are feeling overwhelmed in your own life. Now, overwhelm is going to look differently to all of us, so I thought we could talk through some of the signs that you're feeling overwhelmed. Signs of overwhelm include feeling irritable, you get easily frustrated, you feel hopeless or helpless, you find yourself dwelling on negative outcomes, or you feel like you just can't make positive changes in your life. You're experiencing panic attacks or anxiety attacks, and those can show up as chest pains, having a rapid heartbeat, difficulty breathing, chills and shaking, or just overall an increase of feeling of panic and anxiety or nervousness, just feeling scared. Excessive worry. You're constantly worrying about outcomes, about people, about circumstances, and you're imagining the absolute worst case scenarios that could happen in various aspects of your life. Do you find that you're withdrawing from social activities? You could be experiencing headaches and stomach aches on the regular. Maybe you're just no longer making time for the things that you know bring you joy and that you just enjoy doing. Maybe you just feel like you're too busy all the time. These are all examples of experiencing overwhelm. So if you're feeling like this, the last thing you should be doing is prioritizing somebody else's needs and wants and desires over your own self-care. When you are overwhelmed, it's non-negotiable. You have to say no. When it's not your calling, just because it's good, it doesn't mean that it's yours to do. If it's out of alignment with your values, with your morals, with your goals, then maybe that opportunity isn't for you. And don't get blindsided by shiny object syndrome, trying to assess maybe what you can get out of the situation. Trust that instinct that you have that's telling you that this isn't the right time or this isn't the right opportunity, because that intuition that you are having, it is most likely your divine connection to God who's trying to tell you that this opportunity isn't for you. Don't let guilt and fear or FOMO make you say yes to doing something that's out of alignment with where God is actually calling you to be. Another example of when you should be saying no is when the opportunity is pulling you away from your priorities. If it pulls you from your faith, your friends, your family, your health, or even your God-given purpose, it's okay to say no. And there are ways for you to say no with grace and with confidence. You don't have to get defensive or feel the need to over-explain your no. A simple no thank you or not at this time are just as honorable as a yes with a good intention. Because let's be honest, a yes that is backed by resentment or anger or overwhelm or exhaustion is deceitful. At the end of the day, friends, we just want what's best for one another. And if a no at that time is what's best for you, I want you to be okay with that. No guilt required, no replaying the conversation back in your mind over and over, or creating worst case scenarios that are going to happen as a result of your no. A simple loving no is okay. At the end of the day, no means no. It reminds me of the song, I don't know why it came in my head, but no means no, no means no, no means no means no means no. No? Okay. Let's just move on. So speaking of saying no with grace or confidence, let's talk about how to say no with grace and confidence. You want to be direct and not defensive. Thank you for thinking of me, but at this time, I can't commit. I appreciate the invitation, but I need to focus on my current priorities. Or you can even offer an alternative solution. I can't take this on, but I can connect you with someone who I think would be a great fit for what you need. Use the pause and pray rule. Instead of responding immediately, say, let me pray about it and I'll get back to you. This helps you to make a decision from a place of wisdom and not guilt. Setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish. God never called us to be everything to everyone. He calls us to be faithful with what He has placed in our hands. This week, I challenge you to say no to one thing that's not serving you. And I know it's going to feel really uncomfortable, but that no is going to be so powerful in your life. If this message blessed you, don't forget to subscribe for more faith-based content. And if saying no has been something that you've struggled with, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to pray over you. Stay encouraged, friends.